Because the Western Conference first round matchups are so good, there's been a lack of focus on the East. But if you didn't already know, there's some big matchups happening in that conference too. And of course, I'm talking about the Knicks vs Pistons. I know it's easy to write off the Pistons because of playoff experience, but that's not what we're gonna do. The truth is that this series is a lot more evenly matched than most are willing to admit.
I think the only thing that's working against Detroit for me that don't give me confidence to think they can get past the Knicks, they got a little bit of that just happy to be here energy right now.
You think so?
Just a little bit.
Interesting.
Just a little bit. I think this is a hard-nosed basketball team that coached well, obviously. Got some young guys there that went from a 14-game win season last year to 44 this year.
Crazy.
That's a win in itself. So are they greedy? Like, are they hungry to get past somebody and really make a real stink in the playoffs? Or are they going to hang their hats and say, hey, we had a great season we got here. We'll worry about next year. We'll start looking ahead, and we're just happy to be here. That's going to be my only concern with the Detroit Pistons.
I don't agree that the Pistons are just happy to be in the playoffs. Sure, last season was embarrassing and this year is better, but they're so hungry to make it to the second round. I think they have a good shot at it too. I say this because the Pistons have arguably the best player in the series with Cade Cunningham. Cunningham was the first pick in the 2021 draft, and it took him a little bit to blossom, probably because the team built around him was so lackluster. Now though, it's basically his third year if you discount his sophomore season where he only played 12 games due to injury, and for how good he is, it's really impressive. He's taken the leap everybody was expecting, and Pistons fans can finally stop holding their breath. Cade's gonna be fine, especially against this Knicks team in particular. The Pistons went 3-1 against the Knicks during the regular season, and in those matchups, Cade averaged 31 points and 8 assists per game on 56% shooting. In a game in April, Cunningham had 36 points at home against New York. He was getting to his spots effortlessly and was unbothered by anything that Tibbs threw at him. As a result, I've seen some Knicks fans getting worried about this series. How are the Knicks gonna guard Cade? That's the biggest question that needs to be answered. If New York shuts him down, they shut down Detroit as a whole. Cunningham is the Pistons' offense. Everything revolves around him and runs through him. He decides what's going to happen on any given play. Naturally, it only makes sense that Tibbs tries to put his best defenders out there to try to slow him down. This season, we've seen Mikal Bridges guard Cade. The only issue is that Cade has a clear-cut size advantage. He's a smart player, and when Bridges is isolated, Cunningham is going to be able to get paint touches at will. A solution to this problem is just to have OG guard Cade. That right there eliminates the size advantage. Unfortunately for New York, that leaves Cat on an island when Detroit runs ball screen actions. If you've ever watched Cat play, he's a cone when asked to defend guards off of screens. On the other hand, pick and roll play is Cunningham's bread and butter. Towns is so uncoordinated. He looks like he's running on stilts when trying to guard a quicker guard after a switch, even when he's in drop coverage. To be fair, it's kinda like he's running on stilts because he's a 7-footer. Cat though, he knows that he doesn't want to go out too far to defend a guard after a ball screen because he knows he can't move his feet fast. With Cunningham, it isn't necessary to step up off of the screen because he's that good of a 3-point shooter, but it's just a bad idea to let him pick up speed as he turns the corner. So normally, the Knicks will have OG Anunoby as a line of help just in case Cat gets blown by, but if OG is a primary defender on Cade, then if there's a switch, Cat's on his own and could get exposed. That's the only reason why Tibbs might hesitate putting OG on Cade, just because OG can stop so many offensive attacks by just plugging up gaps. If I'm the coach, I would want a guy like OG being the second, thirdish line of help, but you just can't have both. It's impossible for OG to be on ball and off ball at the same time. You gotta choose one, so we'll see how that plays out. I'm just predicting things, kinda having a feeling, but maybe the Knicks send a double at Cade the second he passes half court. We've seen them experiment with that in the past and they've got burned. If let's say OG and Mikal go to trap, Josh Hart needs to keep his eye on a guy like Malik Beasley. Beasley shoots 53% from corner threes, so he's lethal when a double happens and the defense has to scramble. Don't get me wrong, doubling Cade at least gets the ball out of his hands. As I mentioned before, the Pistons struggle when Cunningham isn't spearheading the offense, so it's only an advantage for the Knicks when he's off ball. Plus, Cade's clumsy with his passes sometimes. In fact, he was second in the league in turnovers with 4.4 per game in the regular season. Speed him up and he'll make mistakes. This sounds like a knock on him as a player, but watch how Eric Spoelstra defends him.
Those turnover numbers can be deceiving too. If you're a high usage guy and you're making a ton of plays, there's a cost of doing business. And you look at all the high usage guys in the league. They make great plays, they score, they set up their teammates, they make the offense look a lot better. And there are some turnovers. I don't even know if we affected him at all.
True, I can agree with him that turnovers are going to happen as a high usage player. At the same time though, Cunningham is going to have to take care of the ball if the Pistons are going to win. They need the ball in his hands, and he can't be a high turnover player in this series if he wants to put them in the best position. Plus, if he's the point guard of the future can't be turning the ball over left and right. Plus, the Knicks, they just have so many advantages of their own. First, they got the better starting five. Jalen Duren is second in total fouls this year, and Cat is good at drawing fouls and shoots 83% from the free throw line, so I already know that's going to be a problem. Mitchell Robinson is recovered from an injury, so he'll be a good contributor. I could see a time where, because Mitchell Robinson is such a good rim protector, that the Pistons might have to get some shooters to stretch the floor and get rid of Asar Thompson, which hurts their defense. At that point, nobody's going to be able to stop Jalen Brunson, and he can just do his thing. I feel like the Knicks have some offensive firepower Detroit just doesn't have. The starting lineup is amazing, but the bench is where their nightmare begins.
Tom Thibodeau is in trouble. Molly, Big Perk, prior to the game, Mikal Bridges revealed he had a private meeting with Tom Thibodeau about the starters playing too many minutes and the bench playing too little, saying, quote, sometimes it's not fun on the body. Tom Thibodeau proceeds to play this brother 41 minutes, put the ball in his hands. He delivered the goods and they won the game, which is a good thing. But then Tom Thibodeau refused to acknowledge that there was a one-on-one conversation. He said it never happened. When everybody and their mother knows that Bridges is right.
Tibbs pretending that Bridges didn't have a conversation about playing less minutes isn't a good look, and Bridges is right, the bench shouldn't be underutilized and him overutilized. That's just going to cause injuries and fatigue. Detroit doesn't have this problem. Off the bench they have a sharpshooting six-man in Malik Beasley, a solid backup PG in Dennis Schroeder, and Isaiah Stewart and Ron Holland. There's not as huge of a drop-off from their starters to the bench as we see with the Knicks. Now I think the series could go either way, for the Knicks or for the Pistons. I'm gonna say that the Knicks win, but the Pistons can probably push it to 6 games. I'm not a part of the group that thinks Cade is gonna have his Pistons sweeping the Knicks, but I'm also not going to go as far as to disrespect him. I think I'll root for the Pistons just because I like to root for an underdog. It'd be crazy if they go from winning 17 games to completing an upset in the first round, but we'll see. But what do you think? Who's gonna win, the Knicks or the Pistons? Tell me in the comment section below. Until next time, peace.